Hey everybody, Max Aita here, head coach of Team Juggernaut, here to talk to you about attempt selection in your competition. So attempt selection, proper attempt selection, can make or break your entire competition. If you have a great plan and you execute it, it could easily make a great meet into the best meet you've had. On the other side, if you have really bad attempt selection, you're picking the wrong numbers, you're probably going to miss a lot of lifts and you're going to have a really bad meet. So attempt selection is something you need to put a special amount of energy and time into and really consider all of your options. I recommend having a very concise, practical method to go about this, and I'll share with you what mine is. So when we're talking about attempt selection, we have to think about priorities, meet priorities. What are we trying to accomplish at this competition? Because lifters, and even the Juggernaut lifters vary from different levels of ability, all the way from qualifying for American Open Series to trying to make the Olympic Games. Every single meet that any one of these competitors is going to do is going to have a different set of priorities. So really want to look at is what are the priorities for your competition? And they're really just kind of a few of them. In order, I would say for most people, these are the priorities they should have. One is to make a total. You can't get points if you don't make a total. Two is to try and podium or win your competition, right? So your total should be, your attempts should be selected to first make a total, second podium or win, third would be to hit a qualifying total for a future event, okay? So if you're trying to qualify for, let's say, AO finals, then that needs to be factored in. I would still say it's a lower priority than making a total and lower than trying to podium. Then beyond that would be make PRs, or finally after make PRs, break records. So putting things into that perspective, we can then assign a logical sequence to what attempts should we actually pick in competition. So before we actually pick competition attempts, we have to think about how much weight we can lift. It's important to know exactly how strong you're going to be at the competition. We can't just blindly put in the numbers that will get us PRs and records and win, because if you can't snatch 180 kilos, it doesn't matter if you put it on your first attempt or your third attempt. So knowing what the level of readiness for our athletes is how we figure this out. We're going to look at a couple of factors. These are the ones that I look at when I'm looking at my athletes going into competition, and I weight these and kind of use these to assess what numbers we should really pick in the competition. Those factors are your best results in the special exercises leading up to competition. So, what are the PRs you've hit in your hang snatch or your block snatch, power clean, power jerks, etc. All these different special exercises that you've been doing regularly through the last competition prep, right? These last 4 to 8 weeks. Then I would look at what is the running average intensity or average weight of the barbell the last 4 to 6 weeks. Has that number increased steadily, or is that number staying the same or decreasing? If that number is going up a couple of percentile points, if the average weight you trained with, for the meet, two cycles ago was 80 kilograms and now it's at 86, we know we're going to be in better shape. We know we're lifting heavier on average, so we're in better shape. Then I would say the next factor is the number of 90% plus lifts we've taken in the previous 4 weeks. If, going into this competition, the 4 weeks leading up to it, you had 10 or 15 lifts at 90%, all successful, we know that that's on the positive side. We're going to be moving up into being in good shape. You need to compare these numbers as well to your historical data. If generally you're hitting your best competitions when your average intensity is really high and you're hitting a lot of 90% lifts and you do well that way, but this 4 weeks leading up to this comp, let's say your number 90% lifts is down, you've only done 2 or 3 of them in the whole month, and your average intensity is way down, then understand you're probably in less good shape than you were that last cycle. And then finally, what are the highest results in the last 4 weeks you've actually hit? What are the biggest snatch and biggest clean and jerk within those last 4 weeks you've actually done, and really done with technical proficiency? It's easy to look at, it was a training make with 90 kilos in the snatch, but really it was like you pressed it out 9 times, and almost dropped it on a kid in front of you. Not the same. You really don't want to call that your best result. So, judge yourself critically like you would in a competition and get an idea as to what those numbers are. Take all of these factors into consideration and look at what a logical attempt would be based on that. If all these numbers have been a small increase, a nice positive increase, your athlete feels great, you can assume they're going to do better in competition. So predict on the higher end of that. Conversely, if they're all really low in the dumps, then be smart and make the right calls there. So each attempt, first, second, and third attempt, has kind of special significance. What we want to think about in regards to every attempt, outside of just using those attempts to build a total, is one, especially for openers, these attempts have to be makeable. If you're picking openers that are 1 kilogram off your PR or at your PR, the likelihood of you being successful at that lift goes down significantly. So openers, the number one priority here is that they're makeable. In addition to that, with an opener, the opener has to position you for your second attempt. The opener doesn't position you for your third, it positions you for the second, right? So openers have to be makeable, kind of at the borderline of makeable, and then positioning you to have a really good shot at second attempt, right? Making your second attempt something that's going to count, going to be very practical and reasonable. Second attempts, they should be something that sets you up to either A, accomplish low, priority number 1 or priority number 2 goals, or set you up to position you for a much bigger third attempt, okay? Third attempts are the numbers that we're going to pick that will secure our highest priority goal. So goal number 2 and 3, those big totals, setting you up to win, setting you up to be successful with a PR, or setting up for a record, or like a stipend qualification, whatever it is. Use those third attempts to do that. Now, there's a strategy as well in weightlifting where people believe that they can, take 2 shots at a record. If I open heavy and then I put up, I put the PR on the second attempt, I'll get 2 shots at it. To me, that's a failed strategy. That's the idea of assuming you're already going to miss one, so you're leaving yourself a second option to make it on the third. Very rarely have I seen a situation where a coach or athlete decided, hey, I'm definitely going to take my PR on my second, and if I don't make it, I'm definitely making it on my third. I can't even remember a time I've seen that be a successful strategy. So understand, assume success. When you go into competition, every lift is going to be made, and that's how you're going to build your total. So here's a tool that I use. I'm going to show you guys this attempt selection matrix. This is a tool I use to kind of evaluate all my options and really see what would the competition look like played out if I was to try and pursue different goals, totals, and get an idea as to what every attempt could add up to be. So what we'll see here is in the upper left corner of this, we see the priority totals, right? So I've listed off which totals are the most high in priority. These numbers are just made up. I don't know if these are actually qualifying for AO series or AO finals, but we're just gonna pretend they are. So in this case, we have the priority totals, right? The first priority is this lifter wants to qualify for the AO series, so 195 kilos would get them there. The second priority is 201 to qualify for AO final. This total will get them there. And then third, a 203 kilo total would be a PR total. So those are our kind of main goals for this competition. Those are priorities. That's what we're really looking at doing here. Let's say we're gonna take this lifter and say we have up in the top right here to the side of that, we have the clean and jerk attempts. So we have their opener, their second, their third. Opener is 105, second's 110, third is 115. Now if we go to the left-hand side of this table, we see the snatch, right? Their opener, second, and third, 84, 86, 89, respectively. So what we're gonna see is a matrix where the opener snatch is made at 84, opener clean and jerk is made at 105. That's gonna give us a total of 189. Now if we assume they make their opener snatch at 84 and their second attempt clean and jerk at 94, at 110, they're gonna get a total of 194, right? What we see is only the totals highlighted in blue, green, or yellow actually reach any of these priority goals. So we can see that they're gonna have to make at least their second attempt snatch and their second attempt clean and jerk to satisfy that qualifying total. Now that puts them at a 196, so we can actually play with these numbers, either the snatch going down a kilo or the clean jerk going down a kilo, to get to that 195 mark. So understand that you can use this matrix to sort of assign, hey, which goal numbers can I hit and what's the best combo of that? If we also think about, what is their most likely successful lifts based on their fitness levels, based on those averages, those numbers from those sliding 4 weeks that we have before the meet. Is 115 likely? Well, what if we think their clean and jerk's only good for 112? We can adjust these numbers and then play with the snatches a little bit and see if we can achieve any of these priority goal totals with different combos of numbers. So in this case, let's say these numbers are all really accurate. This is what we think we're ready for. We have set ourselves up for three different scenarios that will give us that total to qualify for AO series. Two totals, two options, either third attempt clean and jerk, 3 clean and jerks and 2 snatches, or 3 of each to get that qualifying for AO finals, and then really just making a 6 for 6 day to hit that PR total. This is a more conservative approach you would see because we're gonna go for that PR on our thirds in both lifts. So we'd have to have a 6 for 6 day to hit that. But it gives you a good understanding as to really how to kind of build this matrix out so you can see, hey, what's a good option for me to do? What really makes sense? If we look at a different option, here's a different example, right? Same lifter, let's say, different attempts now. They can be in a position where, hey, if you just don't take the right numbers, look, we've locked ourselves out of actually hitting that PR total or that qualifying for AO finals simply because we just chose different numbers, right? So we can see that in this model, they're only really setting themselves up to make that first one, and it's really kind of not a good strategy because now they're setting themselves up to have, they have to make at least 3 clean and jerks and 2 snatches to even get close to or getting above that AO series total. Definitely not the smartest option there. If we look at this, we're going to see a really, third example is a really aggressive style. This would be the idea that, hey, I don't believe in anything Max said about using the averages or special exercises. I'm just going to go for PRs, on my second attempts. You can see like, wow, this looks awesome. Holy cow. Pretty much anything I do, I'm going to get a PR and I'm going to go, to AO finals. But the reality is, look at these attempts. They're really big. He's going to take numbers that are quite a bit higher than what his PR total is to try and do that. If it all went to plan, you'd have a huge PR total of 6 kilos. That'd be awesome. Maybe you're ready for that. Maybe you're not. So you understand that this really aggressive strategy looks great on paper, but then when you actually factor in the idea, factor in the fitness of the lifter, they may not be able to make this. So in reality, they're going to end up, let's say they only make 3 lifts. They make 84, 1 snatch, they make 2 clean and jerks. You got 199. That could have been done in over 4 lifts and been a much more successful and much more positive experience with a different plan. So understand the matrix is a great way to use and utilize some software to actually give you a ability to play with all the numbers and kind of run through quickly, see what they do, see what your totals could be, and then build a strategy off of that. Some practical tips for you guys when selecting attempts outside of these goals and these established ideas is to imagine that you're always going to use 6 lifts in your meet, right? Plan your successes, plan your meets to be 6 lifts to get to the top total. Don't save extra lifts for bigger numbers. If you're gonna snatch and clean and jerk, if you're gonna, PRs on both attempts and make a big PR total, they should be your last lifts. They're your third snatch, your third clean and jerk. Thinking that you're gonna save yourself for an even bigger number after you make a PR on your second is just foolish. It's a waste of attempts. You're probably gonna end up missing that. It's gonna be too heavy. You're gonna have to be, struggling to do it. In competition, the one caveat to all of this stuff is that in the heat of the moment, battling between a lifter and you and another lifter is going to require jockeying numbers around. You may have a perfect plan set up, it's all awesome, but you should take a kilo less because that would get you a gold medal. Then absolutely take the kilo less. Winning is a high priority, so those numbers are going to move around a lot. Also, if that means pushing yourself to a kilo beyond what you had planned, and you could win a gold medal, or if you don't make it, you get nothing, then yeah, for sure, it would be worth taking that shot. But that's really more a matter of on-the-spot coaching and picking numbers in the heat of battle. And then, other things would be like building momentum. The whole process of this, again, back to making 6 lifts, using all your lifts, build momentum from opener to third attempt. You should feel like you're getting better. You should be building successes. The more times you succeed, the more likely you are to succeed on the next attempt. big proponent now of building momentum within the competition. You make 3 snatches, you're probably gonna be more confident going into the clean and jerk. So assume that. More lifts made is gonna be more lifts made in the future. And then be realistic, take what's there. You know, if you have an awesome plan laid out, you're in great shape, but you go onto the platform and all of a sudden the weights are heavy, take what's there. I've been in that position before. You know, as much as it's not fun, you know, to show up to a competition, especially a big international one, and things don't go your way and you have to open with weights you didn't even think you were gonna try, but you take them and they're there and you make them, you walk away with a total, right? Be smart, take the numbers you can make and move on from there. There's always another fight, there's always another meet to do. And then again, you know, assume success. Don't plan for misses. Don't assume that, you know, you might miss your second, so you're gonna need a third attempt for it, right? Just assume success, and it's gonna set you up for a much better strategy and a much better competition all around. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, check out the rest of our videos on our YouTube, or check out jtsstrength.com.